Hi, welcome to No Substitutes, the show where I have some of my favorite people on to talk about what ingredients make up who they are. And today I have a very special guest. She's a legend and has shaped the adult industry, and we've actually done some fun projects together now. And I'm really excited to introduce to you guys Miss Holly Randall.
Oh, thank you. Feels weird to be in this chair.
I know. Also, she's letting us use her studio today, so very grateful.
Just in case the environment looks sort of familiar and you're like, wait
yeah.
a minute.
Well, how's your morning so far?
My morning is good. My morning is good. It's the rest of the day that's going to be long. I'm going to go work on a secret movie after this that you have already been a part of. So
yes.
Yeah.
Excited for that to come out. Well, hopefully we don't keep you too long, but
oh no, it's
I
fine.
have so many questions.
Keep me as long as you want, because they're going to keep us there till like 2 a.m. So
oh no,
the later I get there, like the less chaos I have to endure.
Right. I know. Are you just?
Well, I'm producing it like I was before, but I'm also like doing all the photography.
Right. Okay.
And basically just helping,
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of
moving
moving
Is it at your
parts.
house again or no?
No,
oh,
no,
God.
It is not. It is at somebody else's house.
Okay, nice.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, yay. You guys will have to wait.
You will
till that information is released.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. What are three ingredients you would say you would need for your profession?
So, I guess let's pick, because it's strange, right? I have like a couple of professions.
Yeah.
So, but let's pick the one that I align with the most, which would be like director, photographer, producer, right? That's the one I've been doing the longest. So the three ingredients that I would say would be organization. Right? Because the thing is, especially in the adult industry, if you're the director, you're also the producer and many other things. Like in mainstream, everybody has their own specific job. And usually like there's not just one producer, there's several producers. There's like a line producer, there's a story producer, there's the executive producer, but in porn, there's only one producer and that producer does everything else.
Everything. Yeah.
So it's beyond just like the being on set the day of and making sure everything runs smoothly. You have to deal with paperwork. You have to deal with like payments, like payroll, script organization, because you don't want to usually shoot a script from start to finish because that's not the most efficient use of your time, casting, like everything. So you have to be insanely organized. And that's definitely like one of the most important things that I think a lot of people who get into directing don't realize. And then the second one would probably be like patience and understanding. And I have to feel that I didn't really understand what it was like to be talent until I hosted a show for Playboy TV. And I wasn't like having sex on camera or anything like that. But I was like the host, and it was like this reality show. So I was on camera all the time, and they were very long days. And I didn't realize until I did that show the mental energy that it takes to be on camera. Because I can show up to set and be in a shitty mood and be grumpy and look like crap, and it doesn't matter, right? Because I'm behind the camera.
Put some concealer on and get your... You gotta get in a better mood.
And then, exactly. And then just being in front of the camera, it's like, if you're in this really dark space or you're having a terrible day and now you have to be like, hi, everybody, like, and be a certain way, like that's hard. That's really taxing.
Yeah.
So I think that experience really helped me understand what it's like to be talent and be in front of the camera. And now I understand more like maybe the mood swings or, when somebody's like struggling to say a line or get through something. So that, and then I think leadership, being able to know how to handle people, being able to know how to, first of all, like the right people to hire. I think honestly, one of my best qualities is not that, I think that my work looks the way it does not because like I'm such an amazing, talented person. Like I have a magic wand and I'm like poof and everything's amazing. No. But what I think I'm good at is recognizing talent in other people and hiring those people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like bringing together the right people and then being able to manage them and being able to like, you know, use them to the best of their ability and being able to, you know, deal with difficult situations, people maybe who aren't getting along, like, you know, complicated, embarrassing situations that may arise, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it takes a certain quality being in that role and staying empathetic, but also not taking on like all the talent and crew's emotional baggage for sure. Yeah, that's a skill for sure. Yeah, I feel like I learned more. I only went to film school for like 1 month, but I learned so much more working in adult film than I did at film school about that, like how you shoot, like the scheduling and everything. Because I love paying attention to that, like even if I was just talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And you have to be detail oriented. You have to,
and you can go to film school and literally just be there because you just want to be an AD, like assistant director. I'm like, who would want? Who's going to pay all this money to be an AD? But we don't even have that in adult film.
No, and that's like usually the thing that you're needed the most because the AD is the person who yells at everybody else to get ready to be on camera.
Yeah,
and like keeps the day moving.
Yeah,
and the schedule going. Yeah, the AD is the yeller.
Yeah, and we don't have that. We have PAs.
Right.
If we're lucky.
which sometimes you have to be the PA too. I mean, look, I've cleaned a lot of come up off of couches and the floor, and I'm not ashamed of it. I will do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
And there's been many situations that I've hired a PA who's like, you're not paying me enough to do that. I'm like, I understand. Give me those baby wipes.
Right.
I will clean up the cum. Because I'm a doer.
Shout out to Sean Alf. Sorry, when you said that, I was like, oh, Sean.
You know, it's just one of those things. Either you're squirmy or you're not. I'm not squirmy.
Yeah, Sean's not. We appreciate you, Sean Alf. Oh, yeah, speaking of, well, the adult industry, but you got... Is it inducted? What's the word? Yeah, inducted into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yes.
Which was very, very deserving. What was your dinner after that big night?
So the AVN award show 2024, where I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, was a long, exhausting process, as they are. The red carpet is...
I've only heard.
Oh, God. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. If I do it, I think I'll do interviews, but I don't know if I'll ever walk the red carpet. It's so long. The thing is, too, because, you know, now the adult industry is made up of so much more than just, like, porn stars. It's also, like, creators, right? Yeah. Like, the talent like, pool.
Yeah, podcasters.
Is like it increased exponentially. It used to be a very small group of people. Now it's like massive. So everybody wants to walk the red carpet, right? So it's just
I'm even surprised to see like the amount of like bigger name celebrities that go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Just a big fan.
My favorite was this year Iggy Azalea performed.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so there's a separate red carpet for like nominees and stuff like that. That is, you're being interviewed by like specific like radio hosts and stuff like that. And so I was in that line because I was being inducted this year. And was it Glennie Balls?
Yeah.
Asked her what she was nominated for this year.
Oh my God.
She did not find that funny.
No. Oh, no.
I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if he meant it or not. I'm sure he did. Honestly, I didn't recognize her either. Like, I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, I didn't even hear. I don't even know where she's been until I saw her name announced on.
Yeah.
AVN. I was like, what?
She was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny.
That's so funny.
So what did I have for dinner? Oh my God. It was so late when it was over. Right. And, you know, you are limited in your choices because you're in the casino. And unless you feel like getting in a taxi and going somewhere else, which I did not feel like, I think there was a place that had like breakfast. I think I had donuts.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I had a really fancy donut.
Breakfast of champions for dinner.
Right, which is not something that I generally eat.
I feel like if you get inducted in the AVN Hall of Fame, you can have whatever
you can have
want.
a donut. Yeah, I also was very poor for choice. So it was a donut, I think, or like, I don't know.
I feel like that makes more
Starbucks
sense.
Muffin.
Yeah, I'm like, that makes more sense to do dinner than to do anything else. I feel like I would be so drained.
Yeah.
Just so.
Yeah.
What was the biggest lesson you learned when you first got your start in the business?
That's a good question. It was really paying attention to how the model feels and recognizing that like the talent is kind of everything, right? Because there's a lot of directors, photographers, whatever, who focus on all the other stuff, right? Like the lighting, the environment, the styling, like all that stuff's important.
Right.
But if you like don't make the talent feel good,
it's not
like that's then you've lost already. I mean, one of the things, and this is something that my mom was really big on, and one thing that she taught me that I always remembered is that you're only as good as your talent feels. And so you want to make them feel like empowered. You want to make them feel sexy. You want to make them feel safe, especially when you're shooting porn, right? Because it's like a very vulnerable thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's new. So yeah, I think that was the most important thing to recognize.
Yeah. I'm glad that more sets now are having, I'm actually doing schooling for this, intimacy coordinators and like talent liaisons.
Yeah.
But maybe we should start hiring just like a cheerleader for set. Just some girl in the.
It's like you look fabulous, girl. You are amazing.
Great.
Just
maybe
there,
just a sassy gay man in the corner, just slay,
just there to
queen,
just there to compliment you. Yeah, just like a complimenter.
Because I would feel phenomenal if just some. Gay man
it was funny when we started instituting the boundary checklist, because all of that happened like kind of right at the tail end of COVID, right?
Really?
When we had this sort of like second Me Too movement kind of in the porn industry, and a lot of like girls were calling out like predators and like people that had like crossed boundaries, and there was people were, and it's funny because so much of that literally was because of OnlyFans. Because all of these girls were now like financially independent from that platform in a way that they
have something to say.
Exactly. In a way that they'd never been. Because before it was always a fear of getting blacklisted. Because if you go out there and like call out a bunch of people, like, and some of them are very powerful, like you're not going to get hired anymore. Yeah. So people always felt intimidated to do so. But then once they started being able to like support themselves financially on platforms like OnlyFans, it was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to be scared about losing work anymore. So I'm going to say these things. Yeah. And so when that happened, I was working for Twisties at the time and Brazzers for ALU. They're now ALU. They were MindGeek. And they sent out this whole like, they were one of the first people to adopt the boundary checklists for the vanilla porn industry. Because boundary checklists have actually always been a thing in BDSM. Right. Like they were like kind of the pioneers of that. Like kink has always had that kind of thing. I think because you're doing such extreme acts, you need to be like.
They're like, we want to make sure.
Real, and also like if someone's tied up and gagged, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You need to like know what they're okay with before you do that, because then they can't advocate for themselves because they're tied up and gagged. So, and they sent out this whole like not only the boundary checklist, but this kind of like checklist for the producers and directors on like the kind of set to cultivate, right? Yeah. And how to behave. Good. And it was all this shit that I had been doing my whole life. And it was just so weird to see this in writing.
You guys have to.
It was like, make sure the model feels comfortable. Make sure you have water on set. Make sure you feed them. Right. There's like, a lot of sets that don't feed you.
No. I bet, yeah.
I mean,
even like, today, I'm like, in the last year, I mean, I started 2 years ago. Yeah. Now retired, apparently. But yeah, I'm like, I was surprised how drastic every other day can be,
right,
depending on which set.
100%. Yeah, and so it was just all of these things, you know, and like checking in with the model and like making sure that they know what's happening that day and like going over everything, making sure they're okay with everything, making sure they know what their rate, like all this shit. And I was like, wait, like is this what everybody does? This just seems like such basic shit to me, but I guess not.
When I was with that really no longer agency.
The agency.
Yeah, I always was like, I want to know like days beforehand who my talent is, and they would always they would not tell me. So I was like, is it just the production that doesn't tell you guys? And I was like, oh no, they know that information, because once I started self-booking, not only do they tell me way ahead, they asked me who I wanted.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an option even? So then
I used to do that too, because it was like, you want to put people with people that they want to work with. You're going to get a better scene.
Exactly. I'm like, I already know who I feel comfortable and safe with.
Right.
And there's even one time I walked off set, not even because I wasn't attracted to the person, but I just, vibes were off. And I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was with that agency. I was like, well, if you would have told me, I could have looked this person up and then kind of gotten the vibe from that. But you failed to do so. So no, I don't feel bad.
They have so your agency literally told me, because I always send out a very comprehensive call sheet with all the information. And a lot of times girls would show up to set and they wouldn't have all that information. I'm like, it's in the call sheet.
Yeah. I'm like,
and then
they
I would see what they got and they would take a bunch of shit out.
Yeah.
And so when I asked them, they said, oh, if we give the girls the entire call sheet, they'll get overwhelmed. It's too much stuff and they won't show up. And I was like, okay.
Like they just can't, they're just not that smart.
Yeah. They can't read.
They can't read. It's pretty much what he was saying.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of girls don't read their call sheet. But still,
or them, like,
you should give them the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. No, they gave me the wrong address a few times or wrong talent. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so glad that era is over. But yeah, I'm also glad just to hear how much it's already changed, but I feel like it's still changing for the better.
Yeah, definitely.
Because people are talking now.
Yes.
People are if and when, I don't see you ever retiring because you are addicted to all this, but when you retire, if you retire, what do you want your legacy to be? Because is your mom even retired?
Yes.
Okay.
She's retired.
I don't know, because I feel like I still see her doing like her book and everything.
I'm well, I did
Randall's.
Her book.
Oh. Okay.
She literally showed up for the party. I did everything else.
Okay.
But it's fine.
I saw that she was like, it looked so cute. It looked like a cute little story time.
Yeah, we put that together. Yeah, she literally just shows up and she's like, she just does whatever I tell her.
Okay.
I'm like her de facto manager, which isn't necessarily super fun.
I wonder if your daughter will be that too.
Will be. God.
And then like one day she writes a book about you. And
I know,
just
right?
continues.
I mean, hey, you never know. You never know. So what about my legacy to be? That's a good question. I mean, it feels a little bit strange to answer that question because it feels sort of like almost conceited. It's hard for me to think that I matter that much.
Like, I get it.
It's just,
but I mean, I guess basing it off of a good way to think about it is just basing it off of how or what you would want to be for other people, how you have wanted to change their lives, or it's not necessarily an ego thing, but
I mean, I would hope that, I will leave behind like, a collection of pictures and videos that people will be proud to have been in and will be like favorite. Some girls have loved some of the photos that I've taken of them so much that they've like printed them out or and like framed them in their house, like something that they can look at when they're like 80 and be like, wow, I still really love this picture. And then also with the podcast, I've had the best compliment that I have gotten, and it's still wild to me that I get these sometimes, is people who aren't a part of the adult industry say that they've watched my podcast and it's changed their mind about how they think about porn stars and how they think about the adult industry. And that like I've given them an insight that they previously didn't have because they were just fed this narrative by mainstream media that all porn is seedy and all, you know, porn stars are drug users and they're all stupid and they couldn't have done anything else with their life. And that, you know, because I've been able to curate this platform and have like incredible guests on who are so generous with their time, like reveal who they really are. It's humanized them. So I hope that some of that like sticks around and helps people see, you know, the adult industry just as like any other entertainment industry and porn stars just as any other people.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's really awesome that you took in such a big platform and gave us a voice and like, somewhere where people actually can be educated on the adult industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen her podcast, obviously you don't know what you're doing with your life.
What are you doing with your life, really?
I know. But sometimes people, like when I did join, one of the thoughts I had that made me feel more than okay, but just kind of like, oh, yeah, this isn't a big deal to me. But I was like, you know, some people, just like anything, want to stick to a certain narrative. And if that is the case, so be it.
Yeah.
But if they want to have a conversation, if they want to listen, let's talk. I will talk to you about the adult industry. But if you want to assume it's one way or, you know, disconnect from that so you can feel better about jerking off, I don't care.
Yeah.
So be it.
I've actually, it's funny because I've had like people almost give me the opposite, what I still consider a compliment, where they're like, oh man, now I can't watch this girl's porn anymore because I think of her as a human being.
Yeah.
And like, or like I've ruined like fantasy for people because I like talk about the behind the scenes truth and like how we get certain things.
They're like, oh,
I
they
know.
don't like each other.
I know. They're just like, oh, I could never watch porn now because now I know like those cum shots are fake or something. And I'm like, here I am ruining your porn fantasy one episode at a time.
The amount of people that I told about how we use Cetaphil sometimes if we get the cum shot, I was like, they're like, what?
And it's like
telling someone Santa's not real.
I know.
I swear to God, when you tell someone all the details in BTS of porn, they're like, it's like, oh no. I didn't know you were so convinced.
I mean, you have to use it for pictures generally because you can't ask a guy to come twice. But also, like, sometimes the cum just isn't, like, thick enough. Yeah. You know, you can't see it. It's, like, too clear.
Yeah.
And you need to, like... I mean,
art.
I've definitely tried to take pictures of, like, real cum, and I have to, like... try to get the incident angle
you're
on like the stuff because it's just like not really showing up. And so then you gotta add a little bit more.
Yeah. You're like,
let me just fluff that up for you.
I want them to think you snotted on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right. You got to find the right consistency. And the Cetaphil, it's got to be the right Cetaphil. Yeah. Because there's like two different kinds of Cetaphil. There's like a face wash and then there's like the lotion.
Yeah.
Or there's like two different kinds of face wash.
Yeah.
And one of them is too clear. Yeah. And it's like, it's either the green one or the blue one. I can't remember which. But if you get the wrong Cetaphil, it doesn't look like cum. And then you got to send your PA back to the grocery store to get the other Cetaphil.
Yeah. See, you guys don't know.
I know.
So much work goes into it.
So much.
Well, we've talked so much about the industry, I guess. So I guess we'll go on to who did the cooking in your family growing up?
So initially, my dad used to do it. Also, like, to be fair, we had like a full-time nanny because my parents both worked. Yeah. Rosie, she was the one who taught me Spanish. Aw. And but my dad taught her this one. Like, so my favorite meal that we used to have when I was a kid was on Mondays. We always had spaghetti. But my dad had learned this recipe for sauce when he was living in Italy. And he taught it to Rosie. And it was all about, like, she would start, she'd skin the tomatoes and then she'd start boiling them, simmering them, like, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, and simmer them for, like, a really long time and add, like, the dried basil and the garlic and all the other things. And that was, like, the best. The sauce was amazing. Yeah. So we always, like, loved Mondays because that spaghetti was so good. But my dad was the one who taught her how to do it. And then another thing that was really big was Sunday lunch, like Sunday roast. It's a very British tradition.
Oh.
Because what you would do is before you went to church, you'd put like the roast in the oven.
Okay.
And then when you would come back from church, like 2 hours later, it would be done. So that's kind of like where it originated from. That's why it's like roast chicken, roast potatoes, or like roast beef. And so Sundays were always like family days, and we always had to sit down as a family together on Sundays for Sunday lunch. And as a kid, I hated it because like my friends would go to the beach on Sunday and I couldn't go with them because I had to like have Sunday lunch with my stupid family.
Yeah.
But now like I love that, you know, like I kind of cherish that tradition, and we've fallen out of it, especially since my dad died. But it's definitely something that like I kind of want to bring it back because I really, you know, those were like really great moments that, you know, really connected us as a family and like grounded us on the weekends.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully your daughter won't feel as like, Mom.
I know. Well, no, I mean, let's be honest. My daughter's going to fucking hate me when she's a teenager. They all do. They all do. They all hate their mothers at some point. I'm going to be not cool.
I feel like, you have to make them think it's their choice and then she'll join.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things, especially once you're older, you don't realize how special it was to keep certain traditions going.
Yeah.
Because, when you're a teenager, you're like, if it feels like an obligation, you're like, don't want to go.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, when you're a teenager, you hate everything anyways. So, like, doesn't matter.
Nothing's cool. But that's awesome. Because I didn't know that it's not from Italy, but still has more of an ethnic background than I thought. South Africa, and then your mom's from
England.
Yeah. So that's nice. Did they make recipes at all growing up from where they're from?
Yeah. So biltong is like a big thing in South Africa. And my dad used to make his own homemade biltong.
Wow.
Which is like so delicious. There's like a special like box that you like dry it in and like certain spices. And it's like, it's very different. Have you ever had biltong?
No, I need to get you some. Yeah.
So there's a shop in, by the way, if you live in LA, there's only one place that you can get really great biltong, and it is the Sausage Kitchen on Olympic.
Okay.
And it's actually like, I think like technically like it's like a bunch of German people that run it, but they do have biltong there.
Interesting.
And it's like authentic South African biltong. It's really good.
I'm going to have to try some.
Yeah, it's really good. And then boerewors is another thing that we would also make. And those are like these South African sausages. Oof. And we would like grill those, and those were really special to our family. Actually, when my dad died, at his funeral, one of our like family friends brought a bag of biltong for everybody like to remember my dad by, which was really sweet.
That's super sweet.
Yeah.
Food will always be such a special thing. I feel like if it can bring families together and remind you of your childhood in that way. It's just
the way it like ties people together and how like social it is. I remember when I did, do you remember the oh my God, what was it called? It was that like the stupid like cleanse, the master cleanse.
Yeah.
There was like, it was like a thing for a while where you only have like water and lemon juice with like maple syrup and cayenne pepper for like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember like Beyonce lost a bunch of weight on it or something. And I did that once. And it was during that fast that I realized how much food ties people together because like I couldn't join people up for dinners or like, you know, when you call a friend, you're like, let's go out to lunch or let's go out to breakfast. You know what I mean? It's not like, let's like go like sit on a bench at the park and like, you know, like look at each other. It's like, there's always like that meal aspect. But it like made me realize how much food is like a social thing.
Yeah.
When I did that fast.
Yeah, you're like, I'm so lonely and hungry.
I know. There was like nothing for me to, my friends would be like, you want to hang out? I'm like, yeah, I'm not eating anything. They're like, okay.
They're like, okay.
Like, I guess we'll go for a walk. I don't know.
They're like, you can join us for lunch and have a glass of water, I guess, on me. Lunch is on me. Have all the water you want. Who are some people in your life that have helped you grow?
Let's see. I mean, God, so many people. I mean, obviously like my mom, you know, like she taught me, a lot about photography and everything, but my dad was actually really the one who like guided me on kind of the business end and like how to, you know, be detail oriented, how to like organize my files, how to, you know, write business emails, how to like, you know, do deals, contracts, partnerships, like all that kind of stuff. He really guided me through all of that. And he always like believed in me and really like supported me in a way. My mom did too, but there was something about my dad was not, he wasn't all that easy. Saying that he wasn't easy to please is the wrong way to put it. But my mom is just like, she's the kind of person who just like everything I do, she thinks is amazing.
Right.
Right. Like
your mom.
everything. It's, I mean, she's convinced that, you know, and she's the same with my brother and sister.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's, you know, not true. Like, I'm not that good. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, mom.
Moms always,
Moms are just like that, which is great, right?
Yeah.
To have that in your life. But my father was definitely somebody who would, you know, be honest with me about if I was great at something, he would tell me. But if I wasn't, he would also tell me. So, you know,
you gotta have that balance.
Yeah. So I think like everything that I've done in my life has always been very much to like strive to make him proud, I think, more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So I would, sorry.
Oh,
sorry. No, it's okay. I'm actually one of those really weird people that like loves to talk about my pain.
Oh,
about like my feelings. So I'm like, I'm strange like that. I don't mind.
So what this podcast is more or less about.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say like he was a massive influence in my life. I think more so than a lot of people. And then, you know, my husband has been like really amazing and there for me and always supportive of me no matter like what goes down. Like we actually started dating when I was trying to get sober the second time. So he kind of like met me at my, not my worst, but definitely not at my best. And he like stuck through it, you know, which was amazing to me that somebody like believed in me that much that I would like recover and get sober again and like be able to march on. And there were many moments that I didn't think I could, but like he always believed in me, and that was really important. And then honestly, I will say that probably like the biggest influence in terms of that has shaped me is not one particular person, but I would say like the people in the adult industry in general. And really specifically through my podcast, because sitting down and having these conversations with people, with all these people from all these different walks of life, has been so educational for me and like really enriching. And I feel like it's made me a better listener. It's made me a better person. It's made me more compassionate. It's opened my eyes to so many different things, different perspectives. And I just feel like it's really helped me grow as a human. Yeah. So like, I would say honestly, like my podcast guests have been like a really strong influence in shaping me into who I am today.
I see that for sure. After starting to do this more, I'm like, oh, this is like weirdly therapeutic, even for me, just being someone with questions. But I don't know, having these vulnerable moments, and even if it's in front of a camera, I don't know, it's because doing porn, that's very vulnerable in front of a camera, but it's for entertainment purposes. Yeah. This is more like, I feel more nourished after. Yeah. I don't feel as drained. I feel like, oh, I get to give someone an opportunity to share their story, share their feelings. Yeah. And it's super beautiful.
I mean, because porn is performative, right?
And that.
And it depends on your guest, right? You'll have some guests who are very much like they have a certain facade that they're trying to keep over a certain character that they're trying to be, which is fine. But then you get like the people who are, those are the fun ones, right? When they're like unexpectedly something else than what you thought they were, right? And that's always really cool. I love that. But, and it's like, how often do you really sit down with somebody for an hour face to face without being distracted by your phone or other things and like have a full conversation with them and ask them about themselves? Like we never do that. No. You know, so it's like a great opportunity for that.
It's always work or small talk or especially in LA, I feel like it's always projects. I'm working on this. I'm doing this. Even though we actually are working on 2 things right now that are really cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about work.
But before we get into work, what's the earliest memory you have of your mom?
So the earliest memory I have of my mom, I think, is going to lunch at the Overland Cafe, which was this little cafe that was down the street from our house, and seeing a picture of Madonna on the wall. This is so random. And thinking she was my mother. So when I was a kid, I got Madonna, Marilyn Monroe, and my mom confused. I thought they were all the same person because they all had like short blonde kind of curly hair and like similar features and like that kind of like
attitude.
Yeah, attitude. And yeah, I always thought they were the same person. And I think like at that lunch for some reason,
people that you're like, that's my mom.
I think I must have said something like, "Mommy, look, you're on the wall." She's like, "That's not me." And I think that moment of being like, "Wait, what?
You're not Madonna?"
Yeah, that's like for some reason that's like the earliest memory that I have is realizing my mother is not Madonna.
That's so funny.
I know, it's really
I
weird.
mean, close enough though. Sue's Randall.
Yeah, I mean, you know. She I mean, they're kind of the same age. No, my mom's quite a bit older. Actually, how old is Madonna?
I don't know. She has so much filler in her face now. I can't tell.
I know.
I'm like, I can't tell if you're supposed to look younger or...
She's got to be in her 60s, I think.
Yeah, because she was big in like the 80s. I don't know when she got her start, but she was probably her, 20s in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do math right now. That's not what this is about.
No. Let's not reveal to people how bad we are at math.
I'm like, she's old.
Older is good.
What was the best piece of advice you ever received growing up?
The best piece of advice. Always get back on the horse.
I like that.
Literally.
Because I was going to say you have horses.
Yeah. Because I rode horses when I was a kid. Right. I was an equestrian. My mom's like crazy horse lady. And I rode competitively. I did 3-day eventing.
Oh, wow.
And I had my first pony was an Arabian named Vicky, who was crazy. And we used to do these, these competitions, and she would just refuse jumps all the time, which means like she would refuse to go over them. And she would like catapult me off. Like I would fall all the time. I would get eliminated in shows constantly. So you get eliminated if your horse refuses 3 jumps, or if you get thrown off, or if you go off course. And then I think there's some other, I think those are like the main 3. And I would just get eliminated all the time. And so, when I fell off the horse, it didn't matter. Like I'm crying, I'm upset. My mom was like, you get back on that horse. Like take your time to like collect yourself, but you always get back on the horse, like right away. And honestly, even though at the time it felt very painful because I just constantly lost and was constantly like being eliminated is way more humiliating than losing because you're literally being told you can no longer like compete in the rest of the show. Like we are cutting you out and we are sending you home. Jesus. And that happened a lot when I was a kid. But learning to lose, I feel like was one of the best lessons that I ever had because it's easy to win.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy. And I was thinking about this at AVN actually.
Right.
Because, there were things that we didn't win. And I've actually never won at AVN except for the Hall of Fame, which isn't really a win. It's an induction. But like I've lost a lot in my life. And I just think it's like such a valuable lesson. Yeah. Because like I said, winning is easy, like accolades easy, but it's learning to lose and learning to lose gracefully is, I think, a really important thing to be able to do. And knowing that that's not the end of it and not giving up, getting back on the horse and trying again. And you hear all these stories about these super successful CEOs who often say like failure was my greatest teacher. Yeah. I failed at like 10 businesses before I started this one and was successful. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, no, for sure. I kind of wish I did sports more to experience that because I feel like that's such a good thing for kids to learn. Yeah. But participation trophies and shit.
I know. I know. It's like, it's like weird, right? Because so it's funny because I'm literally going through that right now. So my daughter, we just put our daughter in soccer. She's 3.5. So like,
right.
You can imagine what those games are like. Yeah. We're lucky if the kids are like actually kicking the ball in the right direction. It's just like chaos. Yeah. But it's like, and my husband's actually coaching. It's really cute.
Aww.
And we give out a medal every week to like one of the kids. Like every kid gets a medal until the end. And
it's the one who kicks the ball.
Yeah.
Like, you kicked it this week.
Well, it's funny because sometimes like some of them are totally useless. And so he has to come up with something like, you're getting this medal for tenacity and never giving up or something like that. And they don't know what that means, but they're like, oh, I get a medal.
Being a soccer coach is like being an improv.
He's actually very good at it. It's really awesome. Cute. It's very funny. But yeah, I mean, because at that age, especially at that age, you want them to feel good and feel rewarded for doing it. Otherwise, why would they do it?
Right.
Because learning is hard at the beginning.
Especially a 3-year-old.
Especially a 3-year-old.
Suck.
Yeah.
You should probably pack up.
Yeah. But like you also, you want them to try. Like they don't get to just like have a medal for showing up, but like they also do. So it's like finding that medal.
Sweet spot. Yeah. Well, 3's, what age were you doing the horse stuff?
I mean, I was riding horses like I don't even know, like forever, since I could like walk pretty much, like before that. I mean, I got my first pony at 7, but I was riding way before that.
Right.
So.
Okay. But yeah, I feel like you get to a certain age and then you can start telling your kid they suck. But 3, no, she can get all the trophies she wants.
I will have to say, though, it was really funny because the last game we went to was on Father's Day, and my husband's dad came, and he used to coach him in soccer.
Oh.
He was on the sidelines. He's like, get the ball, Violet. What are you doing? It's over there. And he's like yelling at her.
He's
and
I'm like, try it, coach.
Yeah, he's just like, he's getting all like aggravated. I'm like, they're 3. Like, it's fine. It's like, get in the game. Get your head in the game. What are you doing? Where's that kid going? And I was like,
oh my.
It was funny. It was cute.
Yeah. Aw. What is something you wish more people noticed about you?
Oh my God. I don't know. One thing that I wish more people noticed about me. Fuck me. Maybe.
Oh.
That I'm. God, that's a good question. I'm like stuck on that one.
No worries. We can talk about a life event that shaped you.
A life event that shaped me. Yes, that one's easy. That is definitely getting sober. For sure. Like my battle with alcoholism and my subsequent sobriety journey, both of them, was really like, that changed me completely. I'm a completely different person, and I'm grateful for it. Like the struggles that we face make us who we are, right?
Yeah. And
it really taught me a lot. Made me like more compassionate. Made me more compassionate about mental illness because I wasn't really compassionate about it before. And now, like, having experienced, a disease that makes you like so self-destructive. And you don't want to be, and like not being able to control your impulses,
you from your humanity in a way.
Yeah.
So to be able to, I really admire anyone who's sober because I'm like, you are just raw dogging life. You are experiencing it to the fully human.
Yeah.
Like, you. Grounded in a different way, you're more clear in a different way, and have to be more accountable in a different way. It's just,
but also like I have to because I have this like, just this massive fatal flaw to like completely ruin my life. Like, trust me, like if I could just like smoke a little weed at the end of the day to like chill out, have one glass of wine, I would.
Right.
I miss that, but like. My brain, once you flip that switch, it just like becomes completely obsessed. And that's like the weird, scary thing about it is that, so many people say like, why can't you just stop? Like, where's your willpower? And like, I wish I could answer that question.
Right.
Because I asked myself that many times because I'm not like, I'm, have a good amount of like discipline and willpower, and I'm not like crazy, and I want like a good life, and I want to treat my loved ones well, and I don't want to throw everything away. Like I really don't. But when that like obsession takes control over me, like I cannot control my impulses and like my body, and like it's just wild. It's a really bizarre experience.
No, I've felt that a few times. It's usually if I'm going through something.
Yeah.
And I'll use, something. But then it comes up in a much uglier way. So I've had to definitely stop a few times, but then I'm like,
but you were able to stop.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like,
that's the thing. Like could not do it. Like and I wanted to.
But
so badly.
If I had that voice in my head, or that like, it almost feels like you become possessed almost.
That's exactly what it feels like. Because
it takes you to this place of just ego and then destruction and just selfishness, and then it does. And I've been there. Anytime I'm there, it's like you want to be separated from your body. You want to drink to that point, and it's like, why is that happening? So usually I stop, have to talk with myself or do some other forms of therapy. But if that was me every time, I would probably for sure never, because that's not even it's not a fun drunk. It's not a fun place to be. So I understand that for sure and admire it. Yeah. It's crazy. If you could only have one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm going to be really boring and say probably sushi.
Sushi's good.
I do love sushi. And also I feel like sushi is like a lot of different things.
It is.
It depends on...
You can have a hand roll.
Yeah. I mean, depending on where you go, right? If you go to like a very traditional sushi place, like a Sugarfish, like they're not going to give you a Philadelphia roll and put cream cheese in with like crab,
That's true.
So if you're talking about like very specific like sushi, like Japanese...
Right.
As the Japanese intended it, then it's one thing. But if you want to like Americanize or bastardize your sushi, you can make almost anything.
Like a California roll. Yeah. Philadelphia roll.
Yeah.
For sure. So you want American sushi.
It would give me more variety. I do not like Philadelphia rolls, but I'm just saying I could like sneak other things in there.
Yeah, but I've been to sushi restaurants for sure where they get crafty with their aiolis and spices. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
there's even like, I feel like I'm seeing more places now that are doing like Asian fusion, like sushi tacos and sushi.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, wow. Yeah.
LA's just I used to date a guy who was half Japanese, and he told me that you're not even supposed to dip your sushi in the soy sauce.
No,
like we do. Like he said that. I don't know if this is true because I've actually literally never seen anybody else do this. You're supposed to take the ginger and dip it in the soy sauce and then like paint the sushi with the... did he just make that up?
That might be that might be the way. I don't know. I was just in Japan. I didn't see anyone do that. Yeah. But I was like,
and I was like, oh, okay. And then ever since then, I'm like, I've literally never seen anyone else do that.
They eat things very delicately, so maybe, because I definitely never saw that, like them doing that. But the other thing too is they don't use chopsticks.
They don't?
They usually eat like all their stuff with their hands.
So then why the fuck are we using chopsticks?
I'm sure some American person was like, I want my hands to smell fishy.
Huh.
They eat rice and they eat certain things with chopsticks to slow down the eating.
Right.
Because American, but yeah.
Huh.
I think we're the only country that inhales our food. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
What's a unpopular food opinion?
Unpopular food opinion. I feel like I have like several people that have agreed with me on this. I don't know how unpopular it is, but blue cheese is fucking disgusting.
Oh, I hate blue cheese.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
See? Also, not a fan of celery.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Someone was
tangy water.
Yeah, I saw someone or a meme or something, and it was like, I feel like celery. Whoever invented celery was like, what if hair had water? What if I could eat hair with water?
Yeah, and have it taste kind of spicy
and be in my teeth all day.
Yeah. Beets taste like dirt.
Okay, I do like beets.
Beets.
Maybe you're not making beets right.
No. Beets taste like dirt. I don't care how you make them. They taste like fucking dirt. They're disgusting.
Well, marinate them. No? Okay.
Nope. They taste like dirt.
Okay. That is one disagreement we will always have. Well, I think we have some fan questions for...
We do have a fan question.
Okay.
But before we jump into that, the thing on the sushi is... Yeah. Because I'm an annoying food snob. Is that ginger... You're not supposed to mix ginger and soy sauce. And then the way that they do sushi with the soy sauce is... It can't touch the rice. It has to touch the fish.
Okay, yeah. My boyfriend just said that.
So wait,
too.
how do you do that then? Do you flip the
flip-
sushi upside down?
Yeah, you flip it because if you do it with the rice, it becomes like a salt. Yeah, that and becomes a salt bomb. But I heard that most people don't even care in Japan. I've never been to Japan. I heard most people that like just eat however you want to eat it.
No, when we were there, my boyfriend was like, "This is how you do it." I was like, "Oh, well, mine keeps slipping, so I'm not gonna do it like that."
And then the one other quick comment is like about like a year and a half ago, I filmed a sketch where we had to use fake cum, and I didn't know you guys faked it back then, so I had to like think, how am I gonna make this? So what I did was I used edible lube and cake frosting, and I like mixed that together to make it look like that.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I literally thought you were going to say that you went into the back, jerked off, and then used your own. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. So I didn't know it was fake.
I'm also on. This is what I tell you, I'm on some kind of a list. Yeah. No.
Oh my.
Just like, I didn't.
So when I was shooting in the Czech Republic. I used to go to the Czech Republic every year and shoot. And I remember we were in the countryside, and I forgot my Cetaphil, and I was like in the kitchen trying to like make fake cum with like flour and sugar and like water. It was very. And then it just, and then I just took the spoon and I was like,
just threw it on the girl.
It was like lumpy. It looked like a yeast infection.
Yeah.
It was
in our they ended up not doing it, thank God. But in the original sketch, I was supposed to eat it. So I had to like think of a way, like, how am I not going to poison this person?
No, they've tried to put Cetaphil in my mouth before on
and it makes
sets.
your mouth numb.
Well, I just always refuse. I'm like, no. Like, I think people forget you can say no, especially as talent.
Yeah.
But,
So, you know what works if you have to put them in the mouth? Pina colada mix.
Pina colada mix.
Pina colada
write
mix.
that down.
There you guys go.
You're welcome.
Okay, so our fan question is from Chris Martz 20, and he wants to know, Holly, what has been your favorite episode of your podcast so far, and do you have any like guests that you haven't had yet that you really want on?
Okay, so actually, favorite episode of my podcast. This is like kind of an easy one. I'm always going to default to this because it's also safe. But it's my first interview that I ever did with my parents, with both of them. It's my first one, so it was special, but it was also really cool to like be interviewing my parents and them telling their story. And So, that's my favorite.
Did they ever do interviews before that? I don't feel like I've seen any interviews really of them.
Yeah. My
or
mom's
TVs.
so my mom and I were both in like a Netflix documentary.
I did
The
see
Hot
that.
Girls Wanted one. And then over the years, like especially more back in the 80s when she was shooting a lot, I actually have them all on my YouTube channel.
Oh, nice.
My mom was like on INLA, and before I was born, she did a press tour on her book Suze. So she was on like A Current Affair. She was on the Mike Walsh show, and she was on Tom Snyder's show, who was like the Jay Leno of his day. So yeah, my mom did a lot of interviews. They're actually really cool to watch because she's very, especially back then.
Yeah.
She was like very, she was very beautiful, very sexual, very like enigmatic, and it's just like
she was Madonna.
I mean, it's wild to watch her interviews and the way that she like does this whole thing and like licks her lips and like it's.
You're like, Mom.
It's like, Mom,
simmer down.
Whore, my God.
You slut. No, she, and then I remember actually one of the first times I ever saw an interview of you, I think you're in this, and your mom, was because I was accidentally in this too. Well, not accidentally. I consented to be in this, but it was that Vice documentary on Tracy Lords.
Oh, yeah.
I did, but they were saying that it was Vice was saying that they were making a documentary about, like, I thought it was going to be about ethical porn because it was for an Erica Lust movie that I was doing. And then I watched it. I was like, this is not. that
Yeah.
this is about.
So the whole series was about porn before the internet, and then the Tracy Lords thing was like its own episode.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, we've done a lot of interviews about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know anything about Tracy Lords till I saw that.
I mean, she's literally the reason that like we are so careful with IDs.
2 IDs.
Yeah. I mean, it was because of that. Nuts.
Yeah.
And then the other question was, who have I not had on yet that I would like to have on? I don't know. I mean, I've had kind of like, I mean, there's definitely like a lot of people that I would like to have on that I have not had on that are actually like scheduled and coming on. But there's not like one particular person that sticks out in my mind where I'm like, I must have that one.
Is there anyone you would maybe have on again that you haven't in a long time? Or like someone who's retired maybe?
Yeah, I actually, you know what? When you talk about people who are retired, there's a couple of retired performers that I'd like to talk to just about like context. Like Sharon Mitchell would actually be really good. And I meant to reach out to her and I got her number from someone and I think I forgot. But she used to run, so she ran the first STD testing clinic for the adult industry called AIM.
Okay.
And so she's the one who kind of started that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like a really important person in the industry for like, you know, testing for adult performers. And I just feel like that context and that history is really significant.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, what did people do? They would just have to go to regular clinics?
Yeah. Well, and the thing was, too, is that, you know, it was very easy to fake your tests, right?
Yeah.
Because there was no central database like we have now, like with PASS, where, like, it's everybody's results goes into one place and you can't, like, bring a fake test. I mean, that's what started the whole 2004 outbreak was because Mark Wallace faked his test. Jesus. And he went to set and he doctored his test to look like he hadn't tested positive for HIV, which he had.
Jesus.
And then a bunch of people got infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, were there any other fan questions? No? Oh, that's nuts. That's scary. I don't even know what I would have.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I think about the way the adult industry is now compared to how it was, like, this is the best it's ever been. This is the safest it's ever been. Yeah. This is the most, like, financially profitable for performers it's ever been. Like, if you, like, want to get into porn, like, this is the best time right now. I mean, hopefully it'll continue to get better, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just, like, the changes have been really drastic.
Weeding out all the people that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just technology has enabled performers to really just take so much more, like, charge of their career and advocate for themselves more. And there's, like, so many components to it, you know. It's crazy.
No, it's definitely, and I feel like being more, like, respected in other forms of entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's still a long way to go for that, you know.
Yeah,
but it's definitely better than it was.
Yeah,
but it would be nice to see like porn stars who want to get into mainstream acting cast as something else besides porn stars.
Yeah,
because they're always cast as like
drug. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean.
druggies,
It's like Jenna Jameson was like, oh, I was in this zombie movie. And I was like, you were, I'm a mainstream actress now. I'm like, you were in Zombie Strippers and you played a dead stripper.
You played a dead stripper.
You know what I mean? Like, even Sasha Grey, like, who did that Steven Soderbergh movie, like, she was playing an escort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you never see them as being cast as anything but, like, a sex worker.
Because they're like, well, you're okay with playing this. And
right.
It's like,
that's how people know you, so it makes sense to put you in that role.
Like,
but it would be nice to put people into a different role, maybe.
Yeah, or like a comedy or, I don't know, something where they're not this character that everyone has to feel bad for.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's not the narrative of how that girl even got into the adult industry.
Yeah.
Or this role for this movie.
Yeah.
Well, tell the fans where they can find you.
You guys can find me at on Instagram, I'm Holly Randall. On Twitter or X, I'm Holly Randall. Mm-hmm. My podcast is Holly Randall Unfiltered. I'm on all podcast platforms, and my YouTube channel's just youtube.com/Holly Randall Unfiltered. You can just go to hollylinks.com, and that has links to like all of my platforms. I'm on too many of them, but you can find everything on me there.
Yay. And you guys can find me on Instagram at Lumi_Ray. subscribe to this, obviously. If you're just watching it for free, then it's rude. Also, you could go watch my episode on Holly's podcast as well. And
It's the Christmas special.
Yeah, it was
Remember? I gave you a huge candy cane. Could she fit it in her mouth? You're going to have to tune in to find out.
The dread-sized candy cane.
Dread-sized candy cane.
And, yeah, we'll see you next time.